Right. Ultimate. Nomination means you lost. I want to remind everybody about what really happened. It's been mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, that in the 1960s and the 1960s site of the Cinematheque 16, where a group of Andy Warhol people invited Jim to participate in a benefit to raise dollars for Norman Mailer, his campaign for mayor of New York in 1969. You know, while he was doing that, he stabbed his wife. He had they put the gloves on, and he really had a tremendous fight with his wife, and he ended up stabbing her.
Not Jim,
Norman Mailer. And they asked him, Norman, why did you do that right in the middle of a campaign, a knife? He said, when you use a knife, that means there's some love left. That's what he said there. I had come to LA from Boise, Idaho, and Morrison asked me if I'd ever recited my work out loud in front of people, and they said no. And he said, well, you're about to take that bath. And I said, okay. I believe the benefit was the first time Morrison ever read outside of poetry with a musical context, in a concert thing, you know, or something like that. Flat out chunk of his personal work without. And Robbie was noodling on the guitar at the time. Ann Moore was a journalist who monitored it that night, reviewed it both nights, actually. And a tabloid called The World Countdown. And both nights, Jim read American Prayer in its entirety. What I'm going to do is just read a bit from the second half of American Prayer, which was heard that night, but not on in that little private edition that he published. And this is the second half of American Prayer. Why do I drink? So that I can write poetry. Sometimes when it's all spun out and all its ugly recedes into a deep sleep, there is an awakening, and all that remains is true. As the body is ravaged, the spirit grows stronger. Forgive me, Father, for I know what I do. I want to hear the last poem of the last poet. Gently they stir. Gently rise. The dead are newborn, awakening with ravaged limbs and wet souls. Gently they sigh in rapt funeral amazement. Who called these dead to dance? Was it the young woman learning to play the ghost song on her baby grand? Was it the wilderness children? Was it the ghost God himself, stuttering, cheering, charring blindly? I called you up to anoint the earth. I call you to announce sadness, falling like burned skin. I called you to wish you well, to glory in self like a new monster. And now I call you in to pray. And to conclude, Jim, you heard that applause? That's big for your second half of American Prayer. To conclude my portion of this rare night of reminiscence, I'd like to read a section from The New Creatures I published in this anthology of West Coast verse. The Mount Alverno Review was published in June of 1971, June of 71. And Jim had given me the green light to print his poem before the Simon & Schuster book hit the marketplace. That was actually too expensive to publish even in those days, but he helped bankroll this rather slender collection of poems. And Jim was well aware of the cause, to raise money for a passion surgery fund. It was designed to raise dollars to defray hospital charges for one of my first poet teachers and my mentor, Kenneth Patchen, a prolific writer, Morrison obviously held in high esteem. And this is the poem I published in the Mount Alverno Review. It came from The New Creatures. Jackal, we sniff at the survivors of caravans. We reap bloody crops on war fields, no meat of any corpse deprives our lean bellies. Hunger drives us on scented winds. Stranger, traveler, peer into our eyes and translate the horrible barking of ancient dogs, Jim Morrison.
Yeah.